I was thinking the other day, man, I get asked this question way too often, and it's, how do you hold your gun like that? So today I'll be showing you guys how I actually do this, and it's very simple. All you do is, first things first, you're going to go ahead and click Control and then center scroll wheel, and that's going to give you the canted view, okay? Alright, so that's how you go canted. And now to go high ready, all you're going to do is Control Alt. And don't worry, controller guys, I got you guys in just a second. Don't worry, it's a little different for a controller. And then obviously, where you see some of the motions where my gun's off center, it's because I'm leaning. So if I'm leaning to the right and to the left, while canted, the gun looks like this. It's a little bit different, and that's why it might throw you off sometimes, but I promise that's literally all I'm doing is canting and leaning. Now, say if I was approaching this door and I don't want to flag the person in front of me, I would probably be behind them. They would open this door, and then after they move in, I would clear behind them, etc. Okay, and then, you know, this is why it's simple and good to use, because I don't like ADSing in close quarters combat. I don't think that personally aiming down sights is going to be useful here, especially when lasers are so accurate, and you can click them on when you need them, like so, and click them off, or you can literally hold to have it on for some time, and then it'll turn off automatically when you let go. Obviously, that's a little bit of a longer hallway right there, so that's what it looks like to ADS. Now, when it comes to controller, though, there are some tricks you're going to need to do in order to make it look smooth. If you don't care about smoothness, then that's not going to matter necessarily, but there are a couple things that are pretty different. So let's get straight into how to do all of this movement on controller. Alrighty, so while I primarily play Arma Reforger on mouse and keyboard, I've actually played controller for all of my life until recently. So as you can see here, how to cant on controller is going to be LB and RB, which are going to be your top two bumpers on any controller by default. Now you can obviously lean or ADS around a corner while ADS'd with using both the analog sticks. You can also go into low ready by clicking the sprint button. As you saw there, the gun went into low ready, and that's nice for going around corners as well, because by default high ready is not bind yet, so you have to go in and custom bind high ready. And this is typically how clearing a room looks on controller. But if you hold X or A and then move the right or left analog stick, left or right, you will actually be able to free lean without aiming. And you can see here, if I lean right before going up these stairs, I have a little bit of a better angle and also more field of vision because I'm not ADS. So it's nice to have that, and you can set yourself up for the next room and then ADS swap over, and therefore you'll be able to clear that long hallway, and when you get out of ADS, you'll be flat. And then if you were going to approach this door right here, obviously before opening it, you can pre-lean right again, clear the room, and then move over, aim in, go to the left, and be flat leaning or flat facing when going around that corner and un-ADSing. So it's smooth like that. It's a little bit weird to get used to, but over time it'll become natural. Obviously, Arma Reforger is something I think is definitely more made for mouse and keyboard, and then controller is kind of something that you just have to work with, and there's no other extra keybinds here that are really going to help you out, and that's all the movement stuff pretty much. Now there is one last movement mechanic we haven't talked about, and that's blind fire. As you can see here, you do this on PC by going Control X, and it's very useful because when you lean, you can actually blind fire around corners. Now obviously you want to lean to your right side, because leaning to your left isn't as effective as you'll see here. It really doesn't even look like you're blind firing. It's this kind of weird offset angle. Now this could be a cool POV if you're trying to do something different, but definitely leaning to the right and just overhead in a trench is the most effective for sure. Or even like shooting into a building that might be a little too tall. Now for how to do this on controller, you're going to press RB or R1, and you're going to go ahead and click square. And that's what's going to go ahead and put your gun into blind fire. This would also be, I believe, X on Xbox. So R1/RB and X or square. And now you can blind fire. And all you have to do to go ahead and lean is do what we learned earlier, which is free lean. So again, let's do it again. We're going to go R1, square, X, hold, and then lean over with our left stick. And then we can now blind fire around corners. Now I actually want to tell you guys a few more stuff that is going to help you out a lot as far as being able to auto hide the HUD in any server, as well as maybe access some things that you guys didn't know about. And one last thing having to do with movement, I did end up deciding that the best place for me to mount this, if I were to ever use high ready on controller or even use controller, would be up on the D-pad, just because it by itself I don't think conflicts with too much as long as your boot's on the ground. So this was my choice, and it works pretty well. And you would get to that by going here, go to under your settings, go over to controls, tab all the way over to TAO, and then it's going to be this bind right here. It is not going to be binded by default. You have to do it manually. Now, you might be in a server that has name tags or HUD forced on by default, and there are ways to change this. All you're going to do is go ahead and press the options button and then right on the D-pad, and that's going to pull up all these different options. You can hide the HUD by clicking on auto hide HUD, and that will hide the compass no matter what. And then on top of that, you can also choose your name tag range, things like that, and there's a plethora of options that you can choose from here that will allow you to customize and tailor your experience if the server allows it. Some servers have ways to lock things, but even if they don't allow you to turn your compass off, auto hide HUD will hide it manually. And on mouse and keyboard, you can click control and home at the same time in order to pull this same menu up. Now, this next one can get a little bit strange because every single mod sometimes has different ways to pull stuff up. For example, the M300 vampires that are mostly on a lot of servers have a different keybind than accessing the stuff on the helmet and the laser, etc. And you can set things into different modes. And this is how you turn on your VIP strobe when you're going on night missions like this one, for example, from a video I did with the SFOD Delta guys. So that's very useful as well. You can turn on battery pack lights. You can turn on the helmet light and stuff like that. It's very useful to access this utility if you actually plan on using it for milsim stuff, or even also just being able to set it to things so that when you hit fire, if you have that bind to something else, for example, when you select a laser mode, you can then manually fire it using some hold and tap techniques in order to use it more efficiently. That will be all accessible after you set an actual setting in the menu, because if you don't set the laser to any specific setting, it will not fire and be on at all. So unfortunately, you have to know how to pull up this menu, and I know at least two options here that'll be guaranteed to help you. Now, the most useful one is the one on how to access most stuff on your gun, which is going to be the RHS stuff and stuff on your helmet as well. And in order to do this, you're going to hit R1 or RB, and then you're going to hit the options button to the left. I think it's called like select or something like that. I know on PlayStation now that's the button you would usually take like broadcast and stuff with. So R1 plus that button, or RB plus that button, is going ahead and give you an option to pull up this radial menu. And how to actually select through it, as you can see, I was struggling here to figure it out. I eventually figured out that all you have to do is press R2 or right trigger in order to actually fire, which is going to give you a select option essentially. So your right trigger does work like select once you're in this screen, and you can go through select modes for all of your stuff. And how you pull this up on mouse and keyboard, and obviously just click through it, will be slash right under the backspace and over enter, and on the furthest right. So you just hold that and it'll pull up this menu. And the second most important keybind for turning on lights, because I feel like the M300 is one of the most used lights, it's the surefire one, and any other light that comes in the same pack, so it's going to be the one with the pressure pad up top as well. How you're going to go ahead and turn this on is what you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and click semicolon on mouse and keyboard, and then you can click that and then it's on. Obviously it's daytime, you're not going to see the light, and then click it again to turn it off. And how you pull this up on controller is going ahead to be a combination, obviously, because controller does take a lot of use of combination inputs. So we're going to go R1 and up on the D-pad at the same time, and that's going to pull up this menu. And all you would do to turn it on is R2 right there, or right trigger, and that'll turn your light on. Same thing to turn it off, and then it's off. Now, the last thing I think people might not know about is how to place your weapon both in a holstered motion and also how to just drop it on the ground. So in order to holster your gun on mouse and keyboard, it is going to be Tab Z, and in order to drop it on the ground, it's going to be Tab X. Now on controller, obviously the keybinds are a little different, so we'll take a look at how to do that here in just a moment. So for controller, what you're going to want to do in order to go ahead and drop your gun on the ground is going to be both circle and right on the D-pad. The reason this would be useful is, for example, when you're firing something like an MBT Law or any rocket launcher and you're out of munitions for it, or it doesn't have a capability to fire a second shot, you can just drop this on the ground and keep moving. It's a lot faster than trying to switch off of a very heavy gun. So if your MG is out and you don't have backup ammo, just drop it and get out of there. Now, another very important thing, probably just for milsim servers and things like that, is knowing how to obviously just holster your weapon. So you can put it across your chest, etc. And you're going to do that by clicking right on the D-pad and X at the same time. Now, I hope I was able to help you guys answer some of your questions that you guys always have. I know another one is always, what server is this? You guys can always check down below in the description of my videos for what server I'm on. And also, last but not least, Everything you guys saw today can be found just by going through your controls. So if you guys are ever looking for a control, just make sure you line up the mod with the name of the controls. For example, Tactical Animations Overhaul is going to be TAO. RHS, which is pretty much all you're using, is going to be labeled as RHS, and you can find all that stuff easily in the controls menu. But without further ado, man, I appreciate you guys for tuning in. It's been MxgicFPS. I hope this video has helped you out. Any other unique tips and tricks I can help you guys with, I will have that in the future. More gameplay videos and the best servers for you guys to check out. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. It's been MxgicFPS, and I'm out. Peace.